The silk sheets were stained with mascara and desperation. Another woman fled from Kim Yi-sung's penthouse at 3 a.m., her sobs echoing through the marble hallways as she clutched her designer dress against her chest. The security footage would show the same scene it had captured 17 times before, a beautiful woman entering with hope, leaving with horror. But that was before Amara Williams walked into the Lotus room with fire in her dark eyes and secrets that would burn his empire to ash. 3 days earlier, the rain hammered against the windows of Club Obsidian, Seoul's most exclusive underground establishment. Jae-sung sat in his private booth on the 3rd floor, watching the performances below with dead eyes. At 32, he was the youngest Mafia boss in the city's history, having inherited the Biko clan after his father's assassination 2 years ago. "Boss, the new girl starts tonight," his second-in-command, Min-ho, said, sliding a tablet across the table. "Flew in from Lagos 3 days ago. Work visa, dance background, no criminal record. Clean." Jae-sung didn't bother looking. They were all the same, women who thought they could handle him, who saw the Armani suits and the power and mistook cruelty for passion. He'd stopped counting after the first dozen left crying. "She requested the Lotus room specifically," Min-ho added, and that made Jae-sung look up. The Lotus room was his private space. No performer requested it. They were assigned. "Did she now?" Jae-sung's finger traced the rim of his whiskey glass. "What's her name?" "Amara Williams. Goes by midnight." At exactly 11 p.m., the lights in the Lotus room dimmed to crimson. Jae-sung sat alone, his fingers steepled, watching the door. When it opened, he expected another desperate girl trying to climb the social ladder. What he got was a queen. Amara moved like liquid obsidian, her dark skin gleaming under the red lights. She wore gold that caught the light with every calculated movement, but it was her eyes that struck him. They held no fear, no seduction, only cold assessment. She was hunting, not performing. "You're Kim Yi-sung," she said in perfect Korean, her accent barely noticeable. Not a question. "And you requested this room." He leaned back, bold. "I don't waste time." She moved closer, her heels silent on the carpet. "I know what you do to women. 17 have left here broken. I also know why." Yi-sung's hand moved to the gun under the table. "You know nothing. Your mother was killed by the Jade Serpent clan when you were 12. They made you watch." Amara's voice was steady, clinical. "Every woman who enters your bed, you see her face. You push them away before you can feel anything real. It's not cruelty, it's cowardice." He had the gun out in a second, pressed against her stomach. No one spoke about his mother. No one knew that story except 3 people, and 2 of them were dead. Amara didn't flinch. "Shoot me, and you'll never find out who ordered your father's assassination. Or," she placed her hand over his on the gun, "let me dance, and I'll tell you which of your trusted men sold him out." The music started before he could respond, something with African drums that seemed to pulse in his chest. Amara moved, and suddenly Jae-sung forgot how to breathe. This wasn't seduction. This was war, a challenge, every movement asking, "Are you strong enough to handle truth?" When the music stopped, she stood before him, close enough that he could smell cocoa butter and something sharp, metallic. "It was Min-ho," she whispered. "Your second in command. He's been working with the Russians for 3 years." Jae-sung's blood turned to ice. "You're lying." "Check his left wrist. There's a tattoo of a double-headed eagle he covers with a watch. That's the Volkov family mark." She stepped back. "I'm not here to dance, Kim Yi-sung. I'm here because your father once saved my father's life in Lagos, and before he died, he made me promise to protect his son if danger ever came." "My father never went to Nigeria." "Your father went everywhere." Amara pulled out her phone, showing him a photo. 2 men, arms around each other, smiling, his father, and a tall black man with Amara's exact eyes. "Adwale Williams. They ran guns together in the 90s before your father took over the Biko clan." The room tilted. Jae-sung had spent years investigating his father's past, and this woman walks in with answers in 5 minutes. Before he could respond, gunfire erupted downstairs. Amara moved instantly, pulling a knife from her thigh holster with fluid precision. They're here early. We have to move, now. Who's here? Everyone who wants you dead. She grabbed his arm. Minho sold your location to 4 different organizations. Tonight was supposed to be a massacre. Jae-sung's mind raced. If she was telling the truth about Minho, his entire security system was compromised. The penthouse, the club, every safe house, all known to his second-in-command. More gunfire, screaming, the distinct sound of his men returning fire. Why should I trust you? He demanded. Amara's eyes softened for just a moment. Because your father's last words to mine were, if anything happens to me, make sure Jae-sung doesn't trust anyone except blood. Send someone he can't break, someone who knows pain like he does. She pressed a hand to her side, and he saw blood seeping through her gold outfit. I was shot getting into this building tonight. There's a sniper across the street. I still came to warn you. The door exploded inward. Minho stood there, gun raised, 3 armed men behind him. Boss, we need to evacuate. He stopped when he saw Amara. His face went pale, then red with rage. You. Hello, betrayer, Amara said calmly. Minho's gun swung toward her. You were supposed to be dead in Lagos. Everything clicked into place. Jae-sung moved on pure instinct, firing twice. Minho dropped, eyes wide with shock. The 3 men behind him hesitated, and that hesitation cost them their lives as Jae-sung's remaining loyal guards appeared in the hallway. In the chaos, Amara collapsed. Jae-sung caught her, feeling her blood warm against his hands. Stay with me. The USB drive, she gasped, pressing something small into his palm. In my left boot. It has everything, all the names, all the accounts. Your father knew he'd be killed. He prepared for this. Her eyes were unfocusing. Don't trust anyone in your organization. Start over. And Jae-sung, her hand touched his face. Stop punishing yourself for surviving. She wouldn't have wanted that. Then her eyes closed. No, he pressed his hand against the wound, but there was so much blood. Get a doctor, now. His men scrambled, but as they carried Amara out, Jae-sung looked at the USB drive in his bloody hand and then at Minho's body. The watch had fallen off in death, revealing exactly what Amara described, a double-headed eagle tattoo. She'd been telling the truth about everything. As sirens wailed in the distance, Jae-sung made a decision. He would burn his entire organization down to save her. Because for the first time in 20 years, someone had walked into his darkness and offered light instead of false comfort. And this time, he wouldn't let her leave in tears. He would make sure she lived to see him destroy everyone who'd betrayed them both. The private hospital room smelled of antiseptic and secrets. Amara had been unconscious for 16 hours. Jae-sung hadn't left her side once, his laptop open on his knee as he systematically destroyed everything he'd built. The USB drive contained horrors. Minho hadn't just betrayed him, he'd been orchestrating Jae-sung's downfall for 3 years. Every business deal that went wrong, every shipment intercepted, every ally who mysteriously turned enemy. All Minho. And behind him, a network of corruption that reached into the Seoul police, the district attorney's office, and 3 rival clans. But the worst revelation was in a folder labeled The Woman Project. Jae-sung opened it with shaking hands. Inside were dossiers on all 17 women who'd left his bed in tears. Every single one had been sent by Minho, carefully selected, psychologically profiled, trained to trigger his trauma. It was designed to keep him isolated, emotionally broken, unable to trust anyone enough to discover the betrayal happening around him. He was weaponizing your grief, a weak voice said. Jae-sung's head snapped up. Amara's eyes were open, clear despite the pain medication. You should rest. No time. She tried to sit up, winced. Did you check the drive? All of it. He moved to her side. Minho made me a prisoner in my own mind. Those women. We're victims too, Amara finished. He found broken girls, promised them money and safety, then sent them to you knowing they'd fail, knowing you'd break them further and hate yourself more. Her jaw clenched. My father warned yours this would happen, that the Biko clan's enemies would use psychological warfare, not just bullets. Your father. Jae-sung studied her face. The drive has files on him too. Adwale Williams, former Nigerian intelligence, turned arms dealer, then disappeared 15 years ago, presumed dead. Amara's silence told him everything. He's not dead, is he? Jae-sung's voice was soft, dangerous. No, she met his eyes. He's in hiding. After your father was killed, mine started investigating. He got too close to the truth, so they went after our family. My mother, my 2 brothers. Her voice cracked. I came home from university in London to find them all dead. My father barely escaped. He's been underground ever since, feeding me information, training me. Training you to do what? To finish what he started. Fire returned to her eyes. To destroy the people who killed both our families. Because Jae-sung, your father's assassination and my family's murder. Same people, same organization, and they're not done. Before he could respond, his phone buzzed. Unknown number. He answered on speaker. Kim Jae-sung. The voice was female, accented Russian. My name is Katerina Volkov. I believe you've recently learned about my organization's involvement in your life. Jae-sung's finger hovered over the gun on the bedside table. Keep talking. Minho was useful but sloppy. I'm calling to offer you a deal, join us, and I'll tell you who really ordered your father's death. Because, darling, it wasn't us. We just cleaned up after. Laughter, cold and sharp. You have 24 hours to decide. Oh, and tell the African girl her father sends his regards. We finally found him in Johannesburg. The line went dead. Amara was already pulling out her IV, standing despite the blood seeping through her bandages. What are you doing? Jae-sung demanded. My father's location was above top secret. If she knows where he is... Amara's face was ashen. They're going to kill him, tonight. You can barely walk. Then I'll crawl. She grabbed her clothes, started dressing with shaking hands. You don't understand. My father is the only person alive who knows the complete truth. Everyone else who had pieces of information is dead, if they kill him. We'll never know who's really behind this, Jae-sung finished. He made a decision in 2 seconds. Then we go to Johannesburg, now. You can't just... I own 3 planes. He was already texting his pilot. And Amara, I'm done being a puppet. If they want war, I'll give them annihilation. 8 hours later, they touched down in Johannesburg. Amara had spent the flight on her father's encrypted network, tracking his digital footprint. She finally found him in a safe house in Sandton, but when they arrived, the door was already open. Blood in the hallway, bullet holes in the walls, signs of a fight. No, no, no. Amara ran inside, Jae-sung covering her with his weapon drawn. They found Adwale Williams in the back room, bleeding but alive, standing over 3 dead Volkov soldiers. Baby girl, he smiled through bloodied teeth. You brought a friend. Papa, we need to move. No, Adwale sat down heavily, pressing a hand to his stomach wound. I'm not leaving this time. They got me good. But Jae-sung, he looked at him with fierce intensity. Your father and I discovered something 20 years ago, something that made us both targets for life. What? Jae-sung knelt beside him. The Biko clan, the Jade Serpents, the Volkov family, they're all fronts, pieces of a bigger organization, one that's been running Asia's underworld for 60 years. He coughed, blood on his lips. It's called the Circle. 12 families, different countries, all connected. They don't compete, they collaborate. Create artificial wars, drive up prices, control governments. Your father wanted out, wanted to expose them. So they killed him, Jae-sung breathed. And they've been killing everyone who gets close to the truth ever since. Adwale grabbed Amara's hand. There's a 13th seat in the Circle, empty for 10 years. They've been grooming you, Jae-sung. All the trauma, the isolation, the psychological torture, they wanted you broken enough to control, powerful enough to be useful. Who leads the Circle? Amara demanded. Adwale's eyes found Jae-sung's. Someone you know, someone who's been close to you for years, playing the long game. He pulled out a photo, pressed it into Jae-sung's hand. This was taken at the Circle's last meeting, 3 months ago. Jae-sung looked at the photo and felt his world shatter. Standing at the head of a conference table, smiling confidently among 11 other crime lords, was his older sister, Kim Jae-woo, the sister who disappeared 10 years ago after claiming she wanted a normal life away from the clan. The sister he'd mourned, grieved, spent fortunes trying to find. She'd been pulling the strings all along. No, his voice was hollow. Jae-woo wouldn't. She orchestrated your father's death, Adwael said quietly. Wanted the clan for herself, but the old guard wouldn't accept a woman. So she joined the circle instead, rose through their ranks, and has been systematically destroying you ever since. The plan was to break you, then offer you the 13th seat under her control. Amara's hand found his shoulder. Jae-sung. She killed our father. The words felt like glass in his throat. Everything, the women Minho, the assassination attempts, all her. All her, Adwael confirmed. And she's in Seoul right now, waiting for you to accept Katarina's offer. That's the trap. You accept you're under their control forever. You refuse. They kill everyone I have left, Jae-sung finished. Adwael smiled grimly. Unless you do what your father and I planned to do 20 years ago, expose them all. I have evidence, names, accounts, photographs, recordings, everything needed to bring down the circle. He pointed to a laptop under the desk. It's all there, but here's the catch. The moment you release that information, every intelligence agency, every crime family not in the circle, every government will be hunting you. You'll never be safe again. But they'll all be exposed, Amara said. The circle will fall. And many innocent people will die in the chaos, Adwael added. The power vacuum alone will cause wars across 4 continents. That's why your father hesitated. That's why I've stayed hidden. We couldn't decide if the cost was worth the truth. Jae-sung looked at the laptop, then at Amara, then at the photo of his sister. Give me the evidence, he said quietly. Adwael and Amara both stared. Jae-sung, if you do this, Amara started. I'm already dead, he cut her off. The circle made sure of that when they killed the part of me that knew how to trust, to love, to be human. My sister destroyed me long before I knew she was alive. He took the laptop. At least this way my death means something. At least I take them all down with me. You don't have to do this alone, Amara said fiercely. My father trained me for this exact moment. I'm with you. We burn them all together. Adwael laughed, wet and painful. Just like your father and I, Jae-sung, always finding the ones crazy enough to fight impossible battles. He gripped his daughter's hand. Promise me you'll survive this. Both of you, build something better from the ashes. Papa. Promise me, Amara. I promise, she whispered, tears streaming down her face. Adwael looked at Jae-sung. In my jacket pocket, left side, there's a ring. Your father gave it to me the night before he died, made me swear to give it to you when you were ready to finish his mission. He knew, even then, that you'd be the one strong enough to do what he couldn't. Jae-sung found the ring, simple platinum, inscribed with Korean characters. Ka pumyaru enos, ka chinsi enos asterisk immortal truth. What now? Amara asked. Jae-sung stood, the laptop under one arm, the ring burning cold on his finger. Now we go back to Seoul. We walk straight into the circle's headquarters, and we make sure every person in that room knows. His voice turned to ice. That Kim Jae-sung isn't their puppet anymore. He's their executioner. Adwael smiled one last time before his eyes closed. Your father would be so proud. As they left Johannesburg, Jae-sung plugged in the laptop and started copying files. Amara watched him work, seeing something new in his face, not the broken boy who pushed women away, but the man who'd finally found something worth fighting for. Truth, vengeance, and maybe, if they survived, redemption. The plane lifted into the darkness, carrying them toward a war that would reshape the criminal underworld forever. But neither of them saw the text message that came through on Adwael's abandoned phone 10 minutes after they left. Package delivered, she bought everything. Phase 2 initiates when they land in Seoul. Jae-woo.